Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report. Arlen Suderman and Dwayne Bussey joining us this weekend. And let's start off talking about the WASDE report. Probably the shocker there was the 300 million bushel ending stocks figure on soybeans. And Arlen, what do you think? There's a lot of questions about how USDA put their demand projections together. Are they realistic?
I'd say no, but it kind of offsets each other. Their export target is not realistic. It's too high, but their crush number is not realistic either. And I think that's something USDA, like EPA, keeps underestimating. When you look at the growth that we're seeing in renewable diesel, sustainable aviation fields, and the number of crush facilities that are coming online, investors have a reason to prove those facilities and to keep them going. And so they're going to want the soybeans. Exports, on the other hand, China's been taking in 2 to 3 million metric tons per month above their crush needs. It's really since May, and we expect that to go a few months longer yet. So by the time we get to exporting, they'll have an extra, about 12 million metric tons or so built up that they don't need to buy from us if they don't like the prices or they don't want to do business with us or whatever their motivation may be. And if you look at new crop export sales, they are just a fraction of what they normally would be this time of year. And so I think USDA's export numbers is too high, offset by a too low crush number. And in the end, if you look at that ending stocks number that sent the computer cell orders running in the seconds following the report's release, just reduce the yield by 1 bushel and suddenly you have the trade's expectations. So I think the trade realized as we got later in the week that this really wasn't as bearish a report as what we first thought.
No, we don't have a lot of wiggle room here. So Dwayne, let's talk about yield. They left it at 52 bushels per acre, but do you see that going down from here?
I see it going either direction. And isn't that a typical broker response? I'm sorry. I know we were dry in June, no doubt about that. But, rains in August is really what makes the soybean crop. If we get rains in August and you factor in the fact that we have less soybean acres in a lower yielding state like North Dakota and more acres in more higher producing states, that yield actually could go up, and I think Arlen would agree, a bushel either direction is possible from here.
And speaking of yield, we did get a 4 bushel per acre yield cut on corn. Arlen, do we see further cuts going forward?
Here again, it could go yet either direction. I like the 177 area. That's what I submitted. I think that's real good right now. I've walked a lot of cornfields in my years prior to being in my current role. And really, we probably did damage to the corn crop as far as limiting the girth size of the ears going forward. But we can make that up with favorable conditions if we have less tip back. And if we have a long grain fill period of time, we can get long kernels and we can make some of that up. How much can we do? If you look at the range of possibilities, it's probably everywhere from the upper 160s to the low 180s right now. I like the 177. I think that's a good number right now. And then we see where we go from this point with the weather.
And Dwayne, what do you think in terms of how much yield loss we have to have in order to get this ending stocks figure for corn under the 2 billion bushel mark?
That's kind of a sad question, but a good question. We probably have to yield around 170, 169 if we're using my numbers. Now, my numbers are a little bit different than USDA's current number because USDA has new crop export demand for corn up 450 million year over year. And Michelle, I just don't see that happening. Not at these prices anyway. Our current forecasts are slow. We're slow behind the pace. So if I'm going to increase or decrease export demand by, say, 400, 300 million bushels, well, then I need that yield to drop severely to get below 2.0 billion. So it's honestly just really hard for me to paint a bullish picture for that corn market.
Yeah. Dwayne, we did get a slight increase in production and ending stocks on wheat in the WASDE report, but spring wheat is still kind of the wild card here. Could we see yield go down? You're up in the Dakotas where it's been hot and dry.
Yeah, it has been hot and dry, and it was hot and dry at the wrong time of year for a cool season crop like spring wheat. So no, that yield will probably continue to go down a little bit more, maybe not enough to be a big market driver though.
When we come back on U.S. Farm Report, we'll talk about what the WASDE numbers mean for price projections going forward and whether we have a blow-off top in that cattle market. That's coming up.
Registration is open for the 2023 Pro Farmer Crop Tour, August 21st through the 24th. Attend one of our nightly meetings or join online as we gain insight on the 2023 growing season. Visit profarmercroptour.com/register to select the stop nearest you.